So it's like hitting the pause button on life's demands and allowing your mind to fully relax and recover from the mental fatigue that can be caused by the day-to-day multitasking and pressures of this world. There's research showing how traveling has a direct impact on your mental health. Hey there, welcome back to the What Now with Jay podcast, where we dive into practical tips for traveling, personal growth, and a bit of adventure along the way. I'm guest host Des. In today's episode, we're talking about how traveling is actually good for your mental health. And if you're wondering how to make it happen without breaking the bank, don't worry, I got you covered with some simple ways to save for your next trip. Let's jump in. Okay, so first let's talk about why traveling is more than just a fun getaway. There's research showing how traveling has a direct impact on your mental health. And if that's not enough, this information highlights how it's important to take time and have a break from your everyday routine. So let's talk through the science a bit more. So when I began researching this topic to prepare for this episode, on the surface level, to me at least, you all let me know what you think, but for me, it made sense. It wasn't really anything much to dig deeper on, at least from my perspective, because if you're getting away from the things that bring you reoccurring stress and you break that mold or routine with a new one, a more exhilarating one, whether it's a short stay or a long vacation somewhere else, naturally you would feel happier. But it wasn't until I did do further research into the topic where I found some great information that I wanted to share with you all. For example, a study published in the Journal of Travel Research found that travel can significantly reduce stress levels and improve overall life satisfaction. So in a nutshell, according to that research article, by traveling more, you're less stressed, which improves your perspective of your life, improves how you view your life. Essentially, those who travel more have a higher perspective of their own life satisfaction. But if that is the case, we must ask ourselves why. So when you step out of your usual environment, your day-to-day routine, your brain has a chance to reset and recharge. So it's like hitting the pause button on life's demands and allowing your mind to fully relax and recover from the mental fatigue that can be caused by the day-to-day multitasking and pressures of this world. So essentially creating that life satisfaction, creating that improved perspective on your life, because if you're routinely traveling, you're routinely breaking from the norm, breaking outside of your world, the things that you do day to day, day in and day out, from morning until the time you go to bed. You're breaking from that and implementing something new, whether it be for a short, regardless of the time frame. By implementing this new environment, this new routine, even if it's only for a brief moment, it has a direct and significant impact to your overall mental health well-being in your overall life. Another way that traveling can improve your mental health is that travel is also a great way to boost your mood. And again, it sounds very basic at first glance, but a 2013 study by the American Psychological Association found that people experience higher levels of happiness during travel, especially when they take the time to explore new environments. So having the opportunity to create those novelty moments or have those new experiences actually triggered the way our brains reward ourselves. And by triggering this reward system, it releases all of those feel-good chemicals, all of those dopamine. We're always searching for, whether it's traveling or eating something nice or going for a run or taking that Pilates class. These feel-good chemicals are the foundational blocks to our mood. This study also shows that it's not just necessarily about taking that trip, going on that vacation, but what you do on that vacation, again, can significantly impact your mental well-being and increase your mood for the better. This is why it's so important to prioritize even those small trips, those small moments, a one day, overnight trip of self-care in the same city, in the same state, even if it's in the same town. Experiencing a break in routine and being in a new place can truly leave us feeling more energized and joyful and prepared to take on life's greatest challenges. Okay, so we all know how travel is great for reducing stress, but did you know it also helps with emotional resilience? So let's talk about it. When you think about the trip, when any trip you've ever taken and the planning involved, whether you directly planned or you just showed up, the emotional impact that you may have experienced if things did not go as planned on your trip, and then how you had to overcome that setback on the trip to ensure you still had a fulfilled, relaxing, rewarding trip that you envisioned for yourself. We all have a moment that we can remember, something that did not go as planned on our vacation. But there's a study in the Journal of Environmental Psychology that revealed that experiencing new and sometimes challenging situations while traveling, so for example, like navigating a foreign city and getting lost, or dealing with unexpected delays just to get to the trip, or getting sick while on the trip, these experiences can actually strengthen our ability to cope with stress when we're back to our day-to-day routine. And it also trains our brain to adapt and problem solve more effectively, which ultimately makes it easier to handle the unexpected when it comes to life. And we all know that in 2025 now, life is giving us ups and downs. So with that, by traveling, we are essentially boosting our emotional resilience. So here's me, Des, encouraging you to take that trip, book that flight, because you're taking care of your life and your mental well-being. So we talked about a few ways how traveling can increase our mental well-being. But let's of course not forget the power of connection. So whether you're traveling solo or with family or with friends, traveling creates this opportunity to bond and make and deepen those relationships. Even further, research has shown that people who travel with others report feeling a stronger sense of social support and connection, which is key for emotional well-being. So thinking through times where you, let's say a solo trip, and you really experience the food, the culture, navigating through this town with yourself, relying on yourself and your research and the planning and everything for yourself, you'll create a deeper bond and appreciation for yourself, which increases your mental well-being, which increases how you feel about yourself. When you apply that same principle with traveling with family, I know that for myself, every time I travel with my family, whether it's locally or internationally, I feel a sense of deeper trust and connection. Even with my little kiddo, it's amazing how a trip can really deepen those roots in family ties and connections. And that's one thing I personally appreciate about traveling and having those memories. So not only does travel help you unwind, but it actively enhances your mental health by boosting happiness, reducing stress, improving resilience, and fostering those deeper connections, which all sounds pretty great, right? But in today's economy, how exactly are we going to save for our next trip? And yes, I said we because we're all in this together. So that leads us to the next part of today's episode. So we talked a bit about how traveling improves our mental health, but let's talk how we can actually apply it. How can we actually make all of this traveling happen to increase our mood and increase our life satisfaction? So of course, for a majority of us, money is absolutely a barrier. But trust me, there are some easy ways to save for a trip, and you don't have to be a financial expert to do it. So tip number 1, create a separate travel budget. It's easy to lose track of your savings when everything is in one account. So I personally recommend separating out whatever budget you set for yourself for the year, specifically for traveling. Separate that from your everyday funds. Separate that from your spending money. Separate that from your bill money. Whatever responsibilities you have a separate place, whether it's in your savings account, a completely separate checking account, whether it's cash, whatever makes you feel the most comfortable. Have a separate travel specific budget and set this to where it's automatic by putting things budget in general for any priority. I personally do recommend automatically just putting that money to the side. That way the money doesn't essentially burn a hole in your pocket and then you're still not traveling. So set aside $20 or $50 a week, which adds up quickly, or do it based off what works for your situation, but automatically set that designated amount to the side and you'll be so surprised at how much you can save by the end of the year to take that trip. Tip number 2, cut back on small daily expenses. This one gets me. From the streaming to the pick-me-ups here and the deliveries there, it all adds up. Amazon has me in a chokehold and it is not good. So by being stricter on our small expenses, from stopping at the coffee shop, by picking up unnecessary purchases or ordering online, all of these things can seem harmless at the time, but in reality, they actually really add up. So by trying to cut back on these smaller expenses and redirect that money into your allocated travel fund, it's one of the easiest ways to save without completely changing your lifestyle. So, for example, instead of going to your local coffee shop to get that coffee or tea or pastry, you could instead keep that money and make your own coffee and tea at home and use the money that you saved and put it directly into your travel fund, which will help you take that trip and boost your mood. So now we have tip number 3. Depending on your situation, being flexible with your travel dates can help significantly. If you can just adjust your travel plans to fly midweek or during the off season, you could save hundreds of dollars. And I have personally experienced that. For our family, we prefer to fly midweek. It's just less hustle and bustle in the airport. In my experience, I found that going from the same airport to the destination airport, but by changing it to leave on a Wednesday rather than a Friday or Saturday, has saved me literally thousands of dollars. The exact same week, the exact same flight, the exact same travel carrier, and thousands of dollars have been saved. And additionally, there are plenty of tools out there, things like Google Flights or Skyscanner, that can help you track the best times to book your flight. Tip number 4, use those rewards and cashback programs. So if you have a credit card, take advantage of the rewards program that card account offers. But the key here is to be sure to pay your balance in full each month to avoid interest. So it doesn't make sense to plan for trips and you're trying to put everything on your credit card and you're increasing your mood while you're away, and then you come back and you're back stressed. No, that's not what we're suggesting, nor do we recommend. The key is to come back less stressed and to keep this momentum up of increased mood and mental health well-being. So the idea is, if you choose, depending on your situation, to use a credit card to fund your travel, to increase your emotional well-being, that you are paying down the trip in the appropriate amount of time so that you're not incurring interest and essentially incurring debt just to travel. We don't want that for you. But if done responsibly, using your credit card has extreme benefits. Over time, these points can add up to free flights, discounted hotels, or even activities during your travels. So there are significant rewards with using credit as an option to fund your travel depending on your situation. Tip number 5, look for affordable destinations. Traveling doesn't always have to mean expensive flights, first class, fancy hotels. Some of the best moments are created right in your own town, right in your own state. Taking a trip to one of those boutique hotels that you always pass on your way to work and booking a spa service, checking out the local attractions without having to deal with traffic. Those are some of the best times, because essentially if you're traveling, you're taking off. So you're away from your day-to-day routine. Yes, you might still be in the same city, the same state. However, you're not in the same home. You're not in the same location, unless you just decide that you want to book a hotel, or maybe you do stay in the city. Whichever the case may be, it's still a break from your day-to-day routine. And sometimes having those opportunities to just enjoy your city, enjoy your area, enjoy your community gives you the opportunity to reflect. And ultimately, there are so many amazing destinations that won't break the bank. So take the time to look for the off the beaten path places or even local gems that you never thought to explore before. Tip number 6, travel hacking. So I know it sounds like a fancy term or possibly a made-up term, but it's really just about using points, miles, and promotions to get cheaper flights or free stays, right? Because we're all about ensuring we can travel, improving our mental health, and improving our overall life satisfaction. So if you're serious about traveling more, check out websites like Fly with Jay for all kinds of tips on maximizing those travel rewards. So now let's briefly talk about keeping that mental peace, whether we're traveling or returning from traveling. And I do have a few books that I want to recommend to help you stay grounded and calm, whether you're preparing to travel and you're planning to travel in the near future, or you're returning to your day-to-day routine. First, I would like to recommend The Art of Stillness by Pico Iyer. And this book highlights the idea of finding peace in a chaotic world. And it's perfect for those who want to make their trips a bit more reflective and calming. The author emphasizes the power of being still, which is something we all can benefit from, especially when we're constantly on the move. And lastly, The Geography of Bliss by Eric Weiner is a book that blends travel and psychology. The author explores what makes people happy across the globe, which is really interesting. So if you're looking for an inspiring read that will remind you of the joy and beauty in travel, then this is definitely a book for you. And there you have it. Travel isn't just a fun escape. It's a powerful tool for improving your mental health. It reduces stress, boosts happiness, it helps you build resilience. Plus, with a little planning and some smart saving strategies, you can make travel a regular part of your life. Don't forget, if you're looking for more tips on how to improve your mental health or save for your next traveling adventure, check out Fly with Jay's blog at flywithjay.com for even more resources. If you loved this episode, make sure to hit subscribe on that website so you never miss out on future episodes. We would love to hear your thoughts on this episode and let us know what's the best trip you've ever taken for your mental health. We're genuinely curious, so let us know. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the What Now with Jay podcast. Until next time, Keep exploring, taking care of yourself, and your next adventure could be just what you need to feel even better. Make sure you tell a friend about our podcast and check out flywithj.com for more.